Hey guys, in this series we're going to be revisiting our group chat with Rails and Action Cable, and we are going to be implementing that with the latest JavaScript in Webpacker and Action Cable in Rails, and use Stimulus.js a little bit to handle our WebSockets incoming. So let's dive in. We've got a lot to talk about. First things first, we need to generate some models. I have a brand new Rails application I created using Jumpstart, and we have all of that ready to go. So our Rails application has no models in it right now, aside from a user model with devise, and it's got Bootstrap in it. So let's go ahead and generate a model for our channels. Let's call them scaffold actually. So we'll call them channel, and a channel needs a name, of course, like general, random, whatever else you might need in there. And that's probably really all we need on our channel itself. So then we're going to need a model for our channel users. So this will be a belongs to between a channel belongs to and a user belongs to. And this will be the join table between the users who are currently in that chat room. They may or may not be online, but they were actually in that chat room. So let's go ahead and create that model, and let's create a model for our message, which is going to also have a channel belongs to, and it's going to have a user belongs to, and a body. We could do this as either rich text if you wanted to use like action text for fancy formatting and HTML and all that, or you can just use a plain text column and build your own little markdown parser or whatever like Slack has. So that's entirely up to you. I'm going to just use a regular text column here, and that will be our message model. Now that should be all of the models that we're going to need for this. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's run Rails DB migrate. And we'll probably come back and add another migration later on for direct messages, because you can really think of a direct message as a private channel. So we'll probably have a flag on the channel to implement those later on. And then the users just can't be added to those automatically like you can with regular channels. So let's go through and go into our models folder and set up our associations. So a channel has many channel users, and so does the user as well. So we'll put that in here. And a user has many channels through channel users, and a channel has many users through channel users, as well as has many messages. And same thing for the user, has many messages. That way, if a user wants to delete their account, you can delete all their messages as well. Same thing for the channel. If you delete a channel, you can delete all the messages from there. And so we can do dependent destroy for those two models. And that's going to take care of the association for those. So we'll also have it validates name presence is true on our channel to make sure that when you create a channel, it has a name, so we can reference that in the UI. And I believe that is all we really need to do from our model perspective for the most part. We have our belongs to's automatically set up from the migration. And yeah, we can probably start diving in to actually building out our UI for the channel. So let's open up our routes file and change the root to channels index so that we have that as our homepage. Then we can go add a new channel after booting up our Rails server, of course. And we'll add like general, and then let's create another channel called random, very similar to Slack. But each of these show pages, we actually want to display the chat messages and all of that stuff in this page. So we're going to need to change the channel show view quite a bit. So let's go into that and start reworking this page pretty much entirely. So let's get rid of this stuff and start filling this out. So what we want is kind of two columns in here. So we're going to have a div row and Bootstrap to separate those columns out. And then we'll have a column small 2, and we'll do the same thing for the main chat area. And we'll have a column of 10 over there. And on the left side, we want to have a way to easily switch between your channels. So we'll have like an H6 in here, channels, H6. We can also do some stuff in here, like let's go ahead and add a deflex and justify content between. And what we can do is link to the icon will just be like a plus for this, and new channel path. That's going to give us a little link in here to create a new channel, but then we're going to need to go through all of the channels that we've got. So we'll say channel.all.each do channel. And we can create a little div and link to the channel. So we'll say link to channel.name channel, and we'll display that there. Now we can also do a little bit here to add like an X button so that when you are in the channel as an actual member of the channel, that way you can actually remove yourself from the channel. So if we say current user dot channels dot include this channel, then we know we're looking at a channel you're a member of, and we can have a little link to with the icon from Font Awesome, FAS times, and I think we need the FAS up here as well for the style of Font Awesome icon. And then we can actually have a channel user path with the channel passed in, and we'll have a method delete. So what that will require is us to define in here a resources channel users, or actually a singular resource, because if you are wanting to create or delete your membership of a channel, this resource being singular means that we can always operate on the current user without having to pass in an extra ID for the channel user itself, because the current user is going to be the identifying thing there. So that will work for that, and it allows us to display those channels on this sidebar. Eventually we'll go through and display all of the channel users here. We can display like a channel.users.each do user. We'll want a little H6 here, probably the same kind of thing. We maybe don't need a link there, but we can leave this same div flex around there so you can add maybe a link to DM them or something. And you can have your list of channel users. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. We'll just link or display the user name in a div and display those users. So we'll leave that alone, and we'll add a little link here down at the bottom and see if you're currently logged in to the channel you're looking at. So for this one, if you are logged into the channel, we'll display a little form here to send a message to the channel, or we'll have a link to join channel. And we can even be cool about this and say join channel.name and display some text there, and that's going to make it so that we can link to the channel user path with @channel being passed in, and this will be a method as post. So this sets us all up for going and creating a channel users controller to handle the join and leave. So if we have a channel users controller.rb class channel users controller inherits from application controller. We want to have a before action to authenticate user, make sure the user is signed in, and a before action set channel. And our before action set channel is going to simply look up that channel. So we'll say at channel equals channel dot find params channel ID. Then our create is going to be pretty straightforward. We'll say at channel.channel users, where user is current user, first or create, and then we will redirect to the channel. And our destroy is going to be similar. We're going to look for the channel users, but we're going to destroy all. And we can send you right back to that channel. Simple as that. So this is going to allow us to create those associations between a channel and a user. If we refresh our page, we can take a look at all of this. Right now we have the current user.channels being called and we are not signed in. So we need to go and update our channels controller. We can either set a before action, authenticate user across all of that, or you could do, an accept index so that you would have to be signed in to an account if you're trying to look at an individual one. So let's go ahead and create an account and log in so that we can view that channel. And once we are in, then we can double check and make sure that we have everything right here. Now for our channel show, I made a typo here that we should do the at channel. So we're looking at the current channel here, but up above we want to display all of the channels at the top. So those need to be scoped to nothing. So this is all of the channels and this needs to be at channel. So it's the current channel we're looking at. So if we refresh, now we have a bit better of a page. We can join this. We are now a user of that channel. The X shows up here. We can join random and that is good. We can click this button to remove ourselves from that as well. So this works great. And the only other change I want to make here is to add the deflex justify content between to our channels so that when we join a channel, the X shows up on the right side of that, like you would see in Slack. So this works great, and now we can move on in the next episode to actually implementing the Action Cable chat to make all of this work. So let's dive into that in the next episode. I will talk to you there. Peace.